Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Effy and today's video is baby names I love but won't be using. I've seen this video like on so many channels and I've been wanting to do it for so long. I've picked 6 boys' names and 6 girls' names. It was really hard, like deciding what names to use, but I picked all names that I definitely wouldn't be using. So for those of you who are new or maybe just don't know, I am currently pregnant with my first baby and he is a boy. We have had a name picked out since I was 16 weeks. I am now 37 weeks, so not long to go. But yeah, I do have a name for this baby that I will be announcing like once he is born. So yeah, obviously won't be using any of these names for this baby or any future children that I may have. These are all names though that at one point I was considering, but yeah, I just decided not to use for whatever the reason may be. So I'm gonna start off with the boys' names first, and the first name on that list is Theo. Now I absolutely love this name, I think it's beautiful, and the only reason that I wouldn't use it is because my cousin named her boy that, so obviously I wouldn't use her name. I feel like if it was like a really distant family member that I never saw, then I would probably still use it, but because I'm really close with my cousin, I see her all the time, like, yeah, I just wouldn't use the name. The second boy's name is Leo, so really similar actually. And yeah, I'm not really sure what it was about this name because I loved it for a really long time, but yeah, I just started to go off it and I can't really explain why, because yeah, I still think it's like a really lovely name, but yeah, I just wouldn't ever use it now. But yeah, there's no like particular reason. The next name is Freddie and I absolutely adore this name. This was actually the name I was originally gonna call the baby that is currently in my belly. So before I found out I was having a boy, I kept being like, what if it's a boy? I'm 100% calling him Freddie. I was like, yeah, like Freddie is what I'm gonna use, and I was honestly like dead set on the name, and then I found out that I was actually having a boy and I was like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And as much as I love the name, like I love it so much, people kept putting me off. Every time I would say like, oh, I want to name my baby Freddie, people would be like, oh, what, like Freddy Krueger? And now that's all I can think of. And as well, someone mentioned the serial killer. Is he a serial killer? I swear he is. Fred West. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Either way, yeah, so that put me off the name as well. There was just like loads of people just kept saying stuff and naming people, and I was just like, I can't unsee it now. The fourth name is Wyatt, and I actually love this because of the TV show Charmed. Like, it's my favourite TV show, and growing up, I was just like, that's what I'm gonna name my son, because I want to be just like Piper. But I feel like it's not, like, it's too American. I don't know why, it doesn't sound right when British people say it. Maybe it's because we don't pronounce the T's in anything. Because I feel like saying Wyatt is very forced. Because I never say T's in anything. Like, I would just say, like, Wyatt. Or, like, water. So, yeah. Just not for me. Again, another lovely name, but the fifth name is Dimitri, and it's a very common name within my family. Like, not so much anyone around my age or younger, like, no one's named their child that for a very long time, but up, like, my family tree, like, great uncles or my grandmother's cousins. I'm trying to think. I don't know, there's literally, like, when you go through our family tree, there's like 10 people with that name. I don't think they had much originality back then, but I've just always loved it, and I've always thought like I would love to continue it through the family, because like I said, no one's used it, I don't think, for about 50-60 years. But the reason that I wouldn't use it is because I feel like I'm too, like, I can't think of the right way to phrase this. I just feel like I'm too British. So, like, my family are all Greek, and like my grandmother and great grandmother and great aunties and all of that, they're very traditional Greek. But as the generations have progressed, obviously we've drifted a lot away from traditional family values and the culture that we had, like, when all of my family was living back in Cyprus. And yeah, I just feel like, as well, because I'm having a baby with someone who is completely English, that my baby would be like too far from, I don't know if that makes any sense, because I'm not saying like you have to be a certain ethnicity to use certain names, like, that's not the case at all. You can use whatever names you want. I just feel like, personally, for me, it just wouldn't seem right. I don't know. I hope, like, what what I'm trying to say is coming across right. Like, I hope it doesn't sound like offensive, because yeah, I'm not trying to say that you have to be a certain ethnicity or have a certain last name to use these names at all. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, I like names to sort of flow, and yeah, I just feel like having like a really Greek first name and then just my name is the last name. It just, I don't know, I just don't think it would work. But yeah, I hope, like, that doesn't sound bad, because it's honestly not meant to sound bad. I just think I can't word things properly. And then the final boy's name that I have is Christopher. Again, I absolutely love this name, and it's like one of my top names. I absolutely adore it. The only reason that I wouldn't use, well, there's two reasons that I wouldn't use it for a first name, and that is because, one, it was my dad's name, and I don't know, I feel like it's a bit, like, I wouldn't want to hear his name all the time, because when I hear that name I just think of him, and I don't think I'd feel comfortable saying it all the time to a baby. Yeah, like, I feel like it has like a lot of like negative emotions attached to it now for me. But also, other reason is I hate the name Chris. But that's a bit extreme. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't want it to be shortened to that, and I know it would be, but I prefer like the full name, like Christopher. Like, I don't just like Chris. I don't know if I'm just weird. And now on to girls' names. So the first name that I have is Phoebe. Again, I also got this from Charmed. I think it's like a really pretty name, but I just feel like it's a bit too common. Like, I know quite a lot of Phoebes, and I wouldn't say unusual names, but I just don't like knowing too many people with the name. Like, if I know like one person or two, like, I don't really mind that, but it's when it gets to like 5, 6, 7, like, you can literally make a group of people with this name, then I'm just kind of like, oh. I don't know if it's very common in like babies at the moment though, because names tend to go in and out a lot, and I know it was quite popular like around when I was born. I feel like that's why I know so many, but yeah, I don't actually know if it's like that big anymore. Another name that I love but won't be using is Ariana. I'm like 99% sure it's Greek, because I swear like I found it when going through like the Greek baby names. But the reason that I wouldn't use it is because of Ariana Grande. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I love her, like, she's gorgeous. But I feel like when I hear the name Ariana, that's all I can think of is her. Like, I don't know anyone else with that name. And yeah, I just feel like it's too much of like a celebrity name now, like a bit like Beyonce. Yeah, I just couldn't use it just because that's all I could think of. I feel like most people would as well. They would just think of Ariana Grande. So the third name would be Daisy, and again, I don't know why I went off this name, because there isn't like a particular reason for this one. I just couldn't use it. I don't know why, because I think it's a really pretty name. But yeah, just not for me. No idea why. The next name is Alyssa, and again, I think this is such a pretty name. I don't know what it is about it. I just always liked the name, and do you know what, I probably would use it if I could, but again, my uncle named his daughter that, so I can't use that name now, which is fair enough, you know, whoever gets in there first. But yeah, I probably would have used that name had he not already used it. The next name is Willow, and I think this is a beautiful name. I would potentially use it as a middle name, maybe, at some point. But yeah, not as a first name. I think it is really common now. I know like 3 people around my age that have named their daughters that. And yeah, like I said, I don't like names that get used too much. I'm pretty sure it's quite high up on like the popularity thingy now, and I'm in like a lot of like mum groups, so I just see the name a lot. Yeah, if it wasn't as common as it is, then I 100% would have used that, because it's gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous name, and I love like more nature names, like for girls. Like I love stuff like Willow, Daisy, Rosie. I'm trying to think of more right now. Like you get my point there. My mind's just gone blank. But yeah, I love names like that. But yeah, that one is just used a bit too much for me now. And the last girl's name I have is Isabella. Again, I think it's such a beautiful name and I love it. I just think it's one of like the nicest names I've ever heard. But again, it's like way too commonly used now. Yeah, I know so many people that have named their babies that. So yeah, it's just what can you do? As well, like I hate when people shorten names. Like I said earlier about shortening Christopher to Chris. I can't speak. Shortening. Yeah, like I love the name Isabella, but I don't really like Izzy, and I don't really like Bella. So if anyone, like if I named my child that and people tried to shorten it, it would really like, it would just piss me off. I'd be like if I wanted to name my daughter Bella, I would have just called her Bella. Like I don't know if that's just me that bothers, like unless like the person specifically says like, oh, I like to shorten my name. Because if it's like, if the person's choosing to, then fair enough. But yeah, it's when people do it to like kids who, yeah, like they haven't specified yet. They're not old enough to say what they prefer, but it's just like, if they're not old enough to say, then you've got to go with what the parent likes. But yeah, that is all the names for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope, like, again, like I didn't offend anyone, because that's not my intention. I don't have an easy time wording things, or like sometimes, yeah, I say things and it comes out wrong. But yeah, as well, like I'm not judging anyone for using these names, because again I love them, so I hope it didn't come across like that. Or like when I say like I don't like shortened versions, like if you use a shortened version, then that is like completely okay. Yeah, like I'm not judging anyone here. I can't speak today. When can I? Yeah, I just hope like I didn't upset anyone. Oh, why am I such an awkward person? But yeah, thank you for watching anyway, and I will see you guys really soon with another video.